Absolutely. I will craft a full, motivational, and educational speech in the style you requested. Here's a speech of approximately 1,500 words on the topic, flowing with emotion, spiritual insight, and practical wisdom in the style of TD. Jekisa, Heavenly Father, we bow before you today with grateful hearts. We thank you for the breath in our lungs, the gift of life, and the wisdom to seek growth beyond the chains of yesterday. Lord, let this message stir our souls, open our hearts, and awaken in us the courage to walk in freedom, the freedom you have ordained for us. May every word spoken resonate deeply, breaking strongholds, healing wounds, and igniting the power within us to embrace the fullness of your love. In your holy name we pray. Amen. Brothers and sisters, today I want to speak to you about a power that is often overlooked, yet it holds the keys to peace, happiness, and spiritual liberation. It is a power that is in your hand. Yes, right now, as you sit or stand here, the power is yours to wield. It is the power of forgiveness. I want you to understand something deeply. Forgiveness is not weakness. Forgiveness is strength. Forgiveness is the freedom of the soul. And make no mistake, when you forgive, you are not doing it for the other person, you are doing it for yourself. You are setting yourself free. Now, I know there are some of you sitting here today who are carrying wounds so deep that you feel they may never heal. You've been hurt, betrayed by friends, deceived by loved ones, wounded by circumstances, or perhaps betrayed by yourself. And I want to tell you something. Holding on to that hurt is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. You are the one who suffers. You are the one bound. But the moment you choose to forgive, you break the chains. That is the beauty of forgiveness. That is the freedom of the soul. Let me teach you something today. Forgiveness is a decision, not a feeling. Many people think that you have to feel ready to forgive, that your heart has to be soft, and that the pain must be gone before you can release someone from the debt they owe you. But that is a lie. Forgiveness is an act of the will. You choose to forgive. You say, I will no longer be held captive by this pain. I will not allow this hurt to define my life. And when you make that choice, the weight that has been dragging you down begins to lift. There are 3 truths about forgiveness that you need to understand, so you can fully embrace this power that is in your hand. First, forgiveness is not forgetting. Let me be clear. When you forgive, you are not saying that what happened was okay. You are not saying that the hurt does not matter. You are not saying that the offense is erased from history. No, forgiveness acknowledges the pain, confronts the injustice, and then releases the offender from the prison of your anger. You do not have to forget. You just have to choose freedom over bitterness. The second truth is that forgiveness is not condoning. Forgiveness is not giving permission for someone to hurt you again. Forgiveness does not mean you remain in a toxic relationship, nor does it mean that you allow injustice to continue. Forgiveness is the spiritual act of saying, I release this hurt from controlling me. It is a declaration of independence for your soul. It is a recognition that your life is far too valuable to be enslaved by resentment. And the third truth, perhaps the most powerful truth, is that forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. When you hold on to anger, it becomes a weight on your shoulders, a shadow over your heart, and a prison for your spirit. But when you forgive, it is like opening a window in a dark room. The light floods in, the chains fall off, the air is sweeter. The burden is lifted, you are free, and this freedom is what your soul has been longing for. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but they don't deserve forgiveness. How can I forgive someone who hurt me so deeply? And I understand. I do, but let me remind you, forgiveness is not about them. It is about you. You see, if you wait for the other person to change, if you wait for the apology that may never come, you will remain a prisoner. You will remain in the chains of pain. But when you forgive, when you release the hurt from your heart, you take back the power that has been stolen from you. The power is in your hand. You do not have to wait for anyone else. You do not have to wait for permission. You do not have to wait for a perfect moment. You can forgive today, and in doing so, you reclaim your life. Let me share with you the practical steps to embrace this freedom. First, acknowledge the pain. Do not pretend it does not exist. Do not bury it under a mask of fake smiles or false strength. Say to yourself, "This hurt is real, it is valid, and it has affected me." When you acknowledge it, you stop running from it. You bring it into the light. And the light of truth is the first step toward healing. Second, make the conscious choice to forgive. You might have to do this repeatedly, because some hurts are deep, but the act of choosing to forgive is what starts the process. Say it out loud if you have to. I forgive. I release. I am free. Speak it to yourself until your soul believes it. And yes, it may feel strange at first, because you are literally rewiring your heart to release the toxic energy of resentment. But keep speaking it. Keep choosing it. Keep walking toward freedom. Third, understand that forgiveness often requires prayer and spiritual alignment. If you are a person of faith, bring it before God. Ask for the strength, the courage, and the wisdom to forgive. Ask for the grace to release the pain. And even if you do not pray in a traditional way, meditate on it, reflect on it, and allow yourself to surrender the anger that has been weighing you down. Forgiveness is a spiritual act. It is a divine alignment with the law of love, and it opens the door for miracles to flow into your life. Fourth, guard your heart after forgiveness. Forgiveness does not mean naivety. It does not mean you let the same person hurt you over and over again. Set boundaries. Protect your peace. Surround yourself with people who lift you up and circumstances that allow you to thrive. Forgiveness is freedom, but freedom comes with wisdom, and wisdom protects the heart that has been set free. I want you to see something clearly. Holding on to bitterness is like carrying a heavy rock in your hand. You cannot run. You cannot fly. You cannot move forward. But forgiveness is like placing that rock down. Suddenly, you can breathe. Suddenly, you can walk unencumbered. Suddenly, you can soar. And the power to place that rock down is already in your hand. You do not need anyone else to do it for you. The power is yours. The power is always yours. There are those of you who are thinking about the ones who hurt you. Maybe it was a parent who failed you, a spouse who betrayed you, a friend who abandoned you, a colleague who undermined you. Maybe it was even yourself. Your own mistakes, your own failures, your own moments of weakness. I am here to tell you today forgiveness is for all of it. Forgiveness is for the other, and forgiveness is for you. And when you forgive yourself, you unlock a level of peace that nothing in this world can give. That is the beauty of forgiveness. That is freedom for the soul. I want you to understand that this is not just theory. This is not just philosophy. Science has shown that holding on to anger and resentment harms the body, the mind, and the spirit. Stress, anxiety, depression, they all thrive in the soil of unforgiveness. But when you forgive, your blood pressure lowers, your mind clears, your soul feels lighter. Forgiveness is medicine. Forgiveness is therapy. Forgiveness is power. And here is the greatest advice you will ever receive. Do not let pride, ego, or fear keep you chained to the past. Do not let bitterness dictate your future. Do not let the wrongs of yesterday steal the joy of today. You have the power to choose differently. You have the power to walk into tomorrow with a heart unburdened. You have the power to forgive. The power is in your hand. And when you exercise that power, the world begins to change. Not because the other person changed, but because you changed. Brothers and sisters, I want to leave you with this truth: your life is too precious to waste on anger. Your heart is too beautiful to be filled with hatred. Your soul is too magnificent to remain in chains. Choose forgiveness. Release the burden. Walk into the light. Embrace the freedom. And watch as your life transforms in ways you never thought possible. Because when you forgive, you are not just freeing someone else. You are setting yourself free. And that, my friends, is the beauty of forgiveness. That is the power of love. That is freedom for the soul. So today I urge you, make the choice. Right now. Lift the weight off your heart. Say it with me. In your mind or in your soul, I forgive. I am free. I am whole, I am released. Hold that truth, walk in it, and let your life be a testament to the power that resides in your hands. And may peace, joy, and love flow through you like a river that can never be stopped. May your soul be healed, your spirit renewed, and your heart forever lightened. Because when you forgive, when you release, when you embrace the power that is in your hand, you are walking in the divine truth that nothing can ever take away. You are free. Amen. If you want, I can also adapt this speech into a slightly more fiery sermon-style delivery with pauses, emphasis, and repeated phrases exactly in TD. Jakey's energetic style to make it feel like it's being preached from a pulpit. This would make it perfect for live or recorded delivery. Do you want me to do that next? Absolutely. Let's expand the first keynote, which is PUS. Forgiveness is a decision, not a feeling. Adding more depth examples and emotional resonance. Here's an expanded version of about 500 words. Many people misunderstand what forgiveness truly is. They think that forgiveness waits for feelings to catch up, that it waits for the heart to soften, that it waits for the wound to disappear, or for the pain to vanish. But that is a lie that keeps people bound. Forgiveness is not a feeling. It is a conscious decision. It is an act of the will. And that truth alone has the power to change lives. When you realize that forgiveness is a choice, you reclaim your authority over your own life. You stop giving the offender control over your emotions, your peace, and your future. Imagine carrying a heavy stone in your hand. That stone represents the hurt, the betrayal, the pain inflicted upon you. Every day you carry it, it weighs you down. It changes the way you walk, the way you sleep, even the way you think. You may not notice it at first because you have grown accustomed to the weight, but it slowly drains your energy, your joy, and your hope. Now imagine deciding, right now, to place that stone down. You do not have to like the person who gave it to you. You do not have to condone what they did. You do not have to pretend it never happened. You simply choose to release it. That is what forgiveness is. It is the choice to place the weight down. It is the decision to reclaim your life. Forgiveness does not require understanding. You may never understand why someone hurt you. You may never receive the apology you long for. You may never see justice done in the way you wish. But forgiveness does not wait for comprehension or fairness. Forgiveness is the act of freeing your soul from the prison of resentment. It is saying to yourself, I will not allow what happened to me to continue to define me. I will not allow someone else's actions to control my destiny. I choose freedom. I choose life. I choose peace. That is a powerful declaration, and it is entirely within your control. When you make the decision to forgive, you are taking your life back. You are no longer a victim of circumstance. You are no longer defined by the pain inflicted on you. You are a person who stands tall in the face of betrayal, who rises above anger, and who steps into a life of empowerment. And here is the secret: the more you practice this choice, the stronger you become. Each act of forgiveness builds resilience, courage, and inner peace. You are training your heart to walk in freedom, even when the world around you seems chaotic, even when the wounds feel fresh, even when your soul wants to hold on to bitterness. The power to forgive is in your hand. You do not need anyone else to grant it. You do not need anyone's permission. You do not need the other person to apologize or change. The moment you decide to forgive, you activate a force within yourself that no circumstance, no betrayal, and no pain can ever take away. That is the transformative power of forgiveness. It begins with a decision, a conscious act of the will, and it ends with liberation of the soul. 2, if you want, I can also expand the other keynotes with similar depth and examples, so the entire speech becomes even more rich, emotional, and aligned with T.D. Jakes' style. Do you want me to do that next? Certainly. Let's expand the second keynote, which is, forgiveness is not condoning adding depth examples and emotional insight. Here's an expanded version of about 500 words, if forgiveness is often misunderstood. And one of the greatest misconceptions is that forgiving someone means you are condoning what they did, that you are saying it was acceptable, or that you are giving them permission to hurt you again. This could not be further from the truth. Forgiveness is not condoning. It is not giving your approval to the wrongs committed against you. It is not saying, "What you did is okay." On the contrary, forgiveness is a deliberate act of reclaiming your power and protecting your peace while releasing the toxic hold that anger and resentment have over your life. Think about it this way. If someone strikes you and you choose to forgive them, it does not mean you continue to let them strike you. If a person betrays your trust, forgiveness does not mean you continue to place your trust blindly in their hands. Forgiveness is not naivety, it is wisdom. It is the recognition that your soul's freedom is far more important than holding on to the right to punish someone. You see, too many people confuse forgiveness with weakness, but forgiveness is one of the strongest acts you can ever take. It is an act that says, "I am not bound by your actions. I am not defined by your choices. I am bigger than the pain you caused me." When you forgive without condoning, you set boundaries that protect your future. Forgiveness allows you to say, "I release the hurt you caused me, but I will not allow you to harm me again." It is an act of both grace and wisdom. It frees your heart from bitterness and resentment, but it does not place you back in a situation where you can be harmed. This is why forgiveness is so often misunderstood. It is not about excusing behavior, it is about empowering yourself to live without the chains of anger. Consider someone who has wronged you repeatedly. Perhaps they lied to you, betrayed you, or treated you unfairly. If you choose not to forgive, you carry the weight of that injustice constantly. Your mind replays the scenes, your heart bears the scars, and your soul remains imprisoned. But when you forgive, you say, "I will no longer let this pain control my life." You release them from the prison of your resentment, but you do not release them from responsibility or remove the consequences of their actions. Forgiveness is not forgetting the lessons. It is choosing to walk forward without carrying the baggage of anger. This is the beauty and the power of forgiveness. It separates the act from the consequence. You forgive, but you do not erase the memory or ignore the lesson. You forgive, but you do not allow the offender to continue to disrupt your peace. Forgiveness is a shield for your soul. It protects your heart while allowing you to move forward unencumbered. It is the highest form of self-respect, for when you forgive without condoning, you are saying to yourself and to the world, "I value my peace more than I value revenge. I value my joy more than I value resentment. I will not be held hostage by another person's choices." Forgiveness without condoning transforms you, it strengthens you. It frees you to live authentically, to love freely, and to step boldly into your purpose. And when you understand this, when you truly grasp that forgiveness is not condoning, you begin to wield a power that changes everything, the power to release, to heal, and to walk in freedom. If you want, I can also expand Keynote 3 in the same depth and style, so your full speech will have all 3 keynotes fully enriched with examples, emotion, and spiritual insight. Do you want me to do that next? Absolutely! Here's an expanded version of the 3rd keynote, which is thus: forgiveness is a gift you give yourself, elaborated to about 500 words with emotional depth, practical insight, and spiritual resonance. Forgiveness is often thought of as something we do for the person who hurt us, but the truth is far more profound. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. It is the most powerful act of self-love, self-respect, and personal freedom you can ever perform. When you forgive, you are not just releasing someone else from the debt of their wrongdoing. You are releasing your own heart from the prison of bitterness, anger, and resentment. You are allowing your soul to breathe freely for the first time in months, years, or perhaps even decades. Too many people live their lives carrying invisible chains. These chains are made of grudges, old arguments, betrayal, and disappointments. They weigh heavily on the spirit, and the remarkable thing is that the person who caused the pain is often completely unaware of the damage they continue to do. Not because they are cruel, but because the real harm is in how we hold on to it. When we cling to resentment, it does not hurt the other person, it hurts us. It infects our hearts with negativity, clouds our minds with bitterness, and blocks the flow of joy, peace, and love in our lives. Forgiveness, therefore, is not an act of generosity toward the offender. It is an act of self-liberation. Consider this every time you choose not to forgive. You are effectively telling yourself that your soul is less important than the anger you harbor. You are choosing captivity over freedom, bitterness over peace, and pain over healing. But when you decide to forgive, you are making a declaration that nothing, not even the deepest betrayal, will control your spirit. You are telling your heart, I am more valuable than this hurt. I am stronger than this pain. I will not allow someone else's actions to dictate the quality of my life. That is empowerment. That is the ultimate gift you can give yourself. Forgiveness also opens the door for emotional and spiritual growth. When you forgive, you begin to understand that life is not always fair, that people are flawed, and that holding on to anger only limits your capacity to love and receive love. You learn that forgiveness is not about weakness, but about strength, the strength to rise above, to step into the light, and to walk unencumbered by the shadows of the past. The gift of forgiveness is transformative because it changes the way you see yourself, the world, and even the people who have wronged you. It allows your heart to heal, your mind to find clarity, and your spirit to experience peace. Sometimes, the hardest forgiveness to extend is the one toward yourself. Maybe you made a mistake, hurt someone you love, or failed to live up to your own expectations. Self-forgiveness is the most profound gift you can offer because it restores your dignity, allows you to learn from your experiences without being defined by them, and frees you to step into your full potential. When you forgive yourself, you release the weight of guilt, shame, and regret. You embrace your humanity, your imperfections, and your capacity for growth. The act of forgiveness, when understood as a gift to yourself, changes everything. It transforms resentment into peace, anger into clarity, and captivity into freedom. It empowers you to live fully, love deeply, and pursue your purpose without the burden of yesterday holding you back. Every time you choose to forgive, you are choosing life, freedom, and joy. You are giving yourself a gift that no one else can take away, a gift that keeps on giving, and a gift that transforms the very core of your being. If you want, I can now FX combine all 3 expanded keynotes into your full speech with smooth transitions, making it a complete flowing 3,000-word sermon-style speech in the same powerful style. This would make it ready for delivery as a motivational and educational address. Do you want me to do that next? Absolutely! Here's an expanded version of the 3rd keynote, which is Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. Elaborated to about 500 words with emotional depth, practical insight, and spiritual resonance. Forgiveness is often thought of as something we do for the person who hurt us, but the truth is far more profound. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. It is the most powerful act of self-love, self-respect, and personal freedom you can ever perform. When you forgive, you are not just releasing someone else from the debt of their wrongdoing. You are releasing your own heart from the prison of bitterness, anger, and resentment. You are allowing your soul to breathe freely for the first time in months, years, or perhaps even decades. Too many people live their lives carrying invisible chains. These chains are made of grudges, old arguments, betrayal, and disappointments. They weigh heavily on the spirit, and the remarkable thing is that the person who caused the pain is often completely unaware of the damage they continue to do, not because they are cruel, but because the real harm is in how we hold on to it. When we cling to resentment, it does not hurt the other person, it hurts us. It infects our hearts with negativity, clouds our minds with bitterness, and blocks the flow of joy, peace, and love in our lives. Forgiveness, therefore, is not an act of generosity toward the offender. It is an act of self-liberation. Consider this every time you choose not to forgive. You are effectively telling yourself that your soul is less important than the anger you harbor. You are choosing captivity over freedom, bitterness over peace, and pain over healing. But when you decide to forgive, you are making a declaration that nothing, not even the deepest betrayal, will control your spirit. You are telling your heart, I am more valuable than this hurt. I am stronger than this pain. I will not allow someone else's actions to dictate the quality of my life. That is empowerment. That is the ultimate gift you can give yourself. Forgiveness also opens the door for emotional and spiritual growth. When you forgive, you begin to understand that life is not always fair, that people are flawed, and that holding on to anger only limits your capacity to love and receive love. You learn that forgiveness is not about weakness, but about strength. The strength to rise above, to step into the light, and to walk unencumbered by the shadows of the past. The gift of forgiveness is transformative because it changes the way you see yourself, the world, and even the people who have wronged you. It allows your heart to heal, your mind to find clarity, and your spirit to experience peace. Sometimes the hardest forgiveness to extend is the one toward yourself. Maybe you made a mistake, hurt someone you love, or failed to live up to your own expectations. Self-forgiveness is the most profound gift you can offer because it restores your dignity, allows you to learn from your experiences without being defined by them, and frees you to step into your full potential. When you forgive yourself, you release the weight of guilt, shame, and regret. You embrace your humanity, your imperfections, and your capacity for growth. The act of forgiveness, when understood as a gift to yourself, changes everything. It transforms resentment into peace, anger into clarity, and captivity into freedom. It empowers you to live fully, love deeply, and pursue your purpose without the burden of yesterday holding you back. Every time you choose to forgive, you are choosing life, freedom, and joy. You are giving yourself a gift that no one else can take away, a gift that keeps on giving, and a gift that transforms the very core of your being. If you want, I can now combine all three expanded keynotes into your full speech, with smooth transitions, making it a complete, flowing, 3,000-word sermon-style speech in the same powerful style. This would make it ready for delivery as a motivational and educational address. Do you want me to do that next? Absolutely! Here's an expanded version of the fourth keynote, which is, Sir, holding on to bitterness is like carrying a heavy rock in your hand, elaborated to about 500 words with emotional depth, spiritual insight, and vivid imagery. The bitterness is one of the heaviest burdens a human being can carry. It is invisible, yet it crushes the soul. It is silent, yet it shouts in your mind every day, replaying old wounds, past betrayals, and broken promises over and over again. Holding on to bitterness is like carrying a heavy rock in your hand. At first, you may not even notice how much it weighs. You may convince yourself that you are strong enough to carry it, that it is part of life, that it is justified. But over time, the weight begins to drag you down. Your steps become slower, your energy wanes, and your spirit begins to tire. You cannot move forward when your hands are full of stones you were never meant to carry. Many people do not realize that the rock they are carrying is not theirs to hold. It belongs to the past, to the person who hurt them, to the situation they cannot change. And yet, day after day, they carry it. They clutch it tightly, letting it press against their chest, their shoulders, their very soul. It becomes a part of their identity. I am the one who was wronged. I am the one who was betrayed. I am the one who suffered. And while this identity may feel like protection, it is actually a prison. The rock keeps you tethered to what has already happened, preventing you from stepping into the life that is waiting for you. Forgiveness is the act of placing that rock down. It is the moment when you say, I will no longer carry this. I will no longer allow this hurt to control me. I choose freedom. I choose peace. I choose life. When you release the rock, your hands are empty, and suddenly you are capable of so much more. You can embrace opportunities, nurture relationships, and pursue your purpose without the burden of anger weighing you down. You can lift your face to the sky, take a deep breath, and feel the sunlight on your soul in a way you could not when you were trapped under the weight of bitterness. Carrying bitterness is also exhausting because it keeps your mind trapped in the past. You replay every offense, every slight, every injustice, as if reliving it will change it or give you power over it. But it does not. What it does is steal your energy, cloud your judgment, and blind you to the blessings around you. The rock of resentment is heavy because it is not meant to be carried forever. It was never yours to begin with. The moment you release it, you step into a lighter, freer version of yourself, a version capable of joy, capable of love, capable of peace. And here is a truth many fail to see: carrying bitterness affects not only your soul but your body. Stress, sleepless nights, anxiety, and even physical illness can stem from holding on to the weight of unresolved anger. Forgiveness is not just spiritual, it is also practical. It is the medicine that heals, the act that restores vitality, and the choice that protects your well-being. When you forgive, when you set down the rock, you reclaim not only your peace, but also your strength. You become whole again, no longer bound by a burden that never belonged to you. If you want, I can now expand Keynote 5 in the same style, completing all the major sections, so we can eventually integrate all keynotes into one seamless, sermon-style speech of about 3,000 words. Do you want me to do that next? Absolutely! Here's an expanded version of the 5th keynote, which is The Power to Forgive is in Your Hand, elaborated to about 500 words with emotional depth, vivid imagery, and spiritual resonance today. The power to forgive is in your hand, and understanding this truth changes everything. So often, we look outward, waiting for someone else to apologize, to acknowledge the hurt they caused, or to make amends. We wait for permission, validation, or the perfect timing. But while we wait, life passes us by, and our hearts remain chained. The truth is, you do not need anyone's approval to forgive. You do not need anyone's recognition to release the burden of pain. The power is in your hand, and it has always been there. From the moment the hurt occurred, the ability to choose freedom was yours. Think about the hands you have right now. They can create, they can nurture, they can build, and they can heal. And they can also release. When you hold on to anger, resentment, or the desire for revenge, it is as if your hands are tied, unable to reach for the life that is meant for you. But the moment you choose forgiveness, your hands are free. You can lift your heart, open your soul, and embrace the life that has been waiting for you. Forgiveness does not require strength from someone else. It requires courage from you. It requires a decision, an act of the will, and the determination to rise above the pain that has sought to define you. The power to forgive is not passive, it is active. It is the act of saying, I will not allow what was done to me to control my future. I will not allow anger to steal my peace. I will take back my life and walk in freedom. And here is what is extraordinary. When you exercise this power, you begin to transform not only your own life, but also the lives of those around you. When you forgive, you model strength, courage, and grace. You teach others that freedom is not found in vengeance, but in the choice to let go. You create ripples of healing that extend far beyond what you can see. There are some who think that forgiving is forgetting, or that it is weakness, but nothing could be further from the truth. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful acts a human being can perform. It takes more courage to forgive than to hold a grudge. It takes more strength to release bitterness than to clutch it, and the moment you grasp that the power is already in your hand, that moment becomes the turning point of your life. You no longer need to wait for external circumstances to change. You no longer need to be at the mercy of someone else's choices. The power is within you, and it is always available. When you forgive, you are stepping into your authority. You are reclaiming control over your emotions, your peace, and your destiny. You are no longer a prisoner of the past. You are no longer defined by the pain inflicted upon you. You are choosing to rise above, to embrace freedom, and to live a life unburdened by resentment. The power is in your hand, and it is a power that no one can take from you. It is a power that changes your heart, transforms your soul, and liberates your spirit. Every moment you delay forgiveness is a moment you remain bound. Every second spent clutching anger is a second wasted. The power to forgive is in your hand right now, and with it comes the key to your freedom, your peace, and the life you were meant to live. If you want, I can now take all the expanded keynotes 1 through 5 and seamlessly integrate them into one fully flowing, 3,000-word sermon-style speech in the style you requested, with prayerful introductions, smooth transitions, vivid imagery, and repeated emotional emphasis, making it ready for delivery. Do you want me to do that next? Absolutely. Here's a heartfelt conclusion for your speech, written as a prayerful and uplifting closing. As we come to the close of this message, I want you to remember that the journey of forgiveness is not always easy, but it is always worth it. Every step you take toward releasing anger, every moment you choose peace over resentment, is a step toward a lighter heart, a clearer mind, and a freer soul. The power to forgive is in your hand, the freedom you seek is within your reach, and the life you were meant to live is waiting for you. May you find the courage to let go of the burdens that weigh you down. May your heart be filled with peace, your mind with clarity, and your soul with joy. May the acts of forgiveness you perform, whether for others or for yourself, bring healing, restoration, and a profound sense of liberation. May every day forward be lighter, brighter, and freer than the one before. And now, let us bow our hearts in gratitude and hope, Lord, we thank you for the gift of life, for the strength to forgive, and for the freedom that comes from releasing what no longer serves us. Bless every heart listening today. Heal the wounds that linger, replace bitterness with peace, and fill every soul with hope. Guide them to walk boldly into the future with courage, joy, and love, unburdened by the past, and forever embraced by your mercy. May their lives overflow with blessings, and may they always remember that true freedom begins within. Amen. If you want, I can now combine this conclusion with all the previously expanded keynotes and introductions, and create a Vera's complete, fully flowing 3,000x-word speech, ready for delivery in the powerful style you requested. Do you want me to do that next?